Welcome back to the Forever Green podcast. It's been, first of all, it's weird that I'm opening, but it's also been, it's a little weird because we haven't done this in months. I don't know.
6 months?
6 months.
Coral, have we recorded a podcast since you've been working here?
No, I don't think so.
And you started in August?
Did you know that we had a podcast?
Yeah, barely.
Everybody does.
Well, people have been asking, where are the episodes?
Right. Yeah, that's how you really know that you're missed, is when people notice. So moving on from that feedback.
So it's been 6 months. And we're back. But we just want to talk about why we took a break and what's going to happen next, because obviously we're still doing this thing.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say we didn't plan on taking a break as some something we foresaw, and that was part of a strategic plan.
No.
We don't advocate for taking a break.
No.
But I think we just talk about why that happened, and I think it's something that we see a lot in various forms of content from different, if it's business people or organizations. How often do we go on someone's website and there's a tab that says, or a tab that says blog. So you go to their blog and they have 8 of them or 6 of them, but they're from 2 years ago.
Yep.
And
they're on a long break.
Yeah, they're on a long break. And I've had another podcast other than this one, and I kind of got to the same point that we were at. And, but anyway, we had time to think about it. Why do we think that happened? That we weren't feeling inspired to keep doing it. And really...
We came to one, I feel like we have one major reason that we agreed on.
What was that?
That we just didn't feel inspired anymore.
Yeah, but we want to talk about why. Because you can only run on inspiration for a short time.
Yeah.
It doesn't last forever.
Yeah.
And so when the honeymoon phase is over, how do you keep going? And I think there are a couple reasons, and I'll just bring up the first one. There are a couple reasons why, we didn't necessarily have a clear direction at the beginning. We knew we wanted to have one. We thought it was cool. I had done one before, so we knew how to. And no one else really around here had been doing that.
No.
But we thought we could share marketing advice. We could maybe have on guests, but we really talk about why we wanted to do those sorts of things.
Yeah, I think drilling down further, what each of us wanted to get out of it.
And that's really the point, is we each had things that we liked about it. And so when we'd come up with an episode, it was really well, what now? What's something that you want to have, but that I'm okay with, or the other way around, But rarely did you ever say no to my ideas. It was more me saying no to yours, to be honest. But
so now in our new phase, you don't get to say no to my ideas.
Correct.
Which is exciting.
Yeah. And the other part of it that we're going to bring up is this kind of cycle of learning that has to have a feedback loop. So the cycle of learning, as I think about it, with my students too, is you take in information. So whether you hear from other people or media or you read it or whatever, but you take in new information and then you have to synthesize it, because sometimes it's a lot.
Digest and let it roll around. And
you don't know which parts are the most important or most applicable. And so you have to kind of synthesize it for a little while to pull out some key pieces of info. Right? Or key lessons that you could apply, because it's impossible to take in vast amounts of information and apply it all. It's not how our brains work. But then you have to put it into action. After you synthesize these things, then you put some of it into action. And and then you have to get a feedback loop based on that. So you put it into action.
Correct after
and then
feedback.
And then you go back, and then you relearn again, or take in something new, and really we were just doing the first two.
Yeah.
We were kind of taking in information, and we were maybe synthesizing it a little bit on the podcast.
Yeah, we synthesized it in the pod, and then that was pretty much the end of it.
Right, but we never really put it out and got feedback, because we were not communicating it very well.
Yeah.
And just this morning, we kind of went through I had one more thing at the end of our monthly meeting or weekly meeting, and we talked about communicating better.
Yeah. Which is a struggle.
Uh-huh.
And it's hardest to work on yourself.
Totally.
So doing our own stuff, which somehow automatically gets backburnered, on the list of priorities for obvious reasons. We're just doing this because we enjoy it.
Right.
But putting out your own stuff just feels hard. Challenging.
It does. I think objectively, it's hard to look at yourself and just pull out your own company or whatever organization and pull out just the best bits that you want to share. Not even just the best, but like the valuable pieces that other people would find valuable outside the organization. Because we spend most of our time, just like most of you listening to this, is on your job, you're mostly working on problems. Like, this work needs to get done, this is a problem. This work needs to get done, this is a problem. And it's hard to have that outsider approach to go, oh, well, you guys do this, that's valuable for other people to hear. Or that's cool, you guys do that, we got to share that with people. That's why it's easy for us to go to clients and be like, oh, why do you think this is hard? You can do this, 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 and this.
It looks so clear from farther away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's definitely something to that. But now we sort of have, and it could get fleshed out a little further, but a strategy for how we want to communicate the learnings of this podcast and things that take place a little bit better, right? So it serves a greater purpose.
Well, so this is how we split it up. So now we're actually splitting up the episodes where
I said that as a question.
we are going to have, like, Jamie will be in charge of her episodes, whether it's a speaker or a topic she wants to talk about. By speaker, I mean a guest. A topic she wants to talk about, whatever it is. And then the other person, so that would be me in her episodes, is kind of just like, doesn't prepare a lot for that episode, just comes and is there to just like ask questions that, maybe our listeners would have or something like that. You're kind of like just the color commentator showing up and like, oh, what about this? And you're learning live during the episode.
Yes. But we're still a duo.
Yep.
We still both add our own flavors to the episodes, but we have like a clear structure that both you and I will follow when we have bring our guests on.
Yeah, clear structure is a bit of a stretch, but we know the things that we enjoy the most about the episodes that we've had.
Yes.
Like, there are certain episodes that I've really, really liked, or guests or things, that I've really liked, and there are certain ones that Jamie's really liked, and they're not the same all the time.
No.
Sometimes they are, but sometimes not.
Yeah.
And so we're giving each other the freedom in our upcoming episodes for now what we're calling season 2 is...
Season 2, we're on... What is our episode number? Like, we're like 110-ish.
Something like that. I think we cracked a hundo, so...
Well, we definitely did that. I remember that.
Okay.
Yeah, season 2. So you transitioned into what season 2 will be and how it will be a little different.
Yes.
But still just as enjoyable.
Right. But we do want to talk about the areas that we're interested in doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I do think the shift of what happens next is like also good for the dynamics of, how you naturally play certain roles within your relationships, within your working relationships, whatever. It's like, maybe it doesn't impact you. Well, yeah, it will impact you because it'll force you into a different role.
Did you mean listening?
Yes. So like, I get to be the driver. What do you call that? Right? Like,
you're almost like the director of the...
of the...
You're the talk show host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The host of the ones that I'm responsible for and in charge of, and like stuff that I'm interested in.
Yep.
And you get to do that for yours.
Yep.
Which you're used to doing that for all of the episodes, pretty much, because I default into passenger.
Yeah.
That's just my personality.
Well, yeah, it was, you were just as comfortable listening as I was talking.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like to have that skill set.
To talk?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, sometimes it's bad, as we've recently had in a meeting.
Anyways, okay.
Yeah. So
you were going to talk about what are those things? What are those areas?
And so one for me is that I'm really interested in like already almost like the entrepreneur stories or the local business stories that don't even have to be local, to be honest, of people that have like reached the pinnacle. You know, they've either at the pinnacle of their business, like they're tremendous
How
success.
do you know when you're at the pinnacle of your business?
That's a fallacy for sure. I've even had people come to me, like some friends are like, "Oh, it's so great that you're successful." I'm like, "Successful?" I'm like, no, I don't think that's true. Like, well, you haven't had a job, in a little while. And I was like, I guess, but I don't consider treading water success.
Yeah.
I guess you haven't drowned, which is good.
Yeah.
But anyway, I like to hear the stories of those people, like that have already been there and like.
They're kind of looking back on the arc.
Yep. I like the looking back. People looking back over the time that they did it and how they did it and mistakes along the way.
Yeah. Well, that's because you get to learn so much from the time that has elapsed in their journey.
Yes.
Typically.
Yep.
The more time, the more lessons you learn. But I do love the scrappiness, still going up the mountain.
Beginning of the journey that are like they're aspiring to this thing.
They're so excited, yeah. And they're so frustrated but yet have passion.
Yeah, they're hopeful, sometimes naive.
Yeah,
Yep. And then, but yeah, sometimes the people I like are, they've been there, done that, and they're a little jaded. Sometimes too, or they have an inflated ego, which doesn't bother me. Like it doesn't. That stuff doesn't usually bother me. Anyway.
Okay, so you like the entrepreneurship stories, obviously.
Of the been there's, done that's.
Yes. Yeah. Which is a little bit of an overlap, but you've also heard so many stories locally because of the CEO program that you're like, maybe we can push ourselves on the geographic region.
Yeah, that's why. You have to pull some people. And not that I'm not interested, not that I don't value those stories. I have valued them. Yeah. But having heard them so many times, they're not novel and new to me.
Yeah. And you love novel and new. Novel
and new is important to me. Isn't necessarily for you, though.
No.
Yeah.
No. Because I feel like I could bring on somebody, like guests that we've already had, and have totally different conversations and squeeze the sponge in a different way, different direction. But you're like, we've seen this person. Yes. I've seen your face. You sat on the couch.
Yeah, I know your story. Move on.
Yeah. Well, that's...
Yeah, but I won't get to say.
We'll find out.
I may be very quiet in some of those. And then the other one for me is the... any local histories. I love hearing about histories and stories and that kind of part of history that's local or lessons to be learned from it. And then on the other side of it, anything cutting edge and new fascinates me too.
Yeah, anybody that's doing something really out there.
Yes. Yeah.
Wild ideas.
Yep.
We got to get that grill, man.
Yeah.
The tool bag, I almost said.
That's but hopefully that's not his name. Yep.
That's not that out there, but I think it's really kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yes. So we think we got yours. Anything else that's going to fall in there?
Not for me.
I have the note, the bank robbery story. I don't know, that falls under your history.
Yep.
Cool. And mine tends to focus on personal growth, kind of self-development side. I'm very interested and curious in all of that stuff.
From mental health and routines and care,
mental,
to physical
health, that kind of stuff. What else? I mean, those are the two sides of health.
Yeah.
Emotional
Spiritual
health.
or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Coral's here. She could talk about the stars or something. I don't know. Right, Coral?
The alignment.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll help you out.
Venus is in this phase. No,
Did you just make that up?
I don't know.
I'm sure Venus has a phase, and I'm sure it's in one. Yeah.
In certain circulation pattern. So that's part of mine. And then, well, we kind of touched on this, but the smaller, scrappy people that are doing cool stuff that they like on the side, the kind of side hustlers. Or they're small businesses independent businesses that are.
You're also inspired by the cause too. Like it's the person and the cause. So like they could have a super noble cause, right?
The impact.
Yeah, like I'm gonna start some organization that's gonna like repaint curbs everywhere because it's inspiring people. That's a made up one.
Yeah.
But like you like that stuff.
Yeah.
Very grassroots, like hyper community, hyper local stuff.
Yeah. Like have a big emotional tug somehow.
Yes. Or aspirational.
Yep. Yep. And what was the other one?
I don't know. I'm not in charge of your topics.
I know. I just felt I love the, at least podcasts that I listen to that are just raw and real, and there's like an honest component about how fucking hard life is sometimes.
Sure.
And bringing people on that aren't afraid to be vulnerable.
Got
I
it.
guess. And for us to talk about vulnerable things. Like
Yeah.
some of my favorite episodes that we've done have been like on really hard topics.
Sure.
And so I want to do more of that.
Yeah.
And force myself to talk about those things too. Because that's like part of the learning, I think. For me, like when we talked about not doing the podcast, I sort of was like, I think I need the podcast in a way to help myself like verbalize things more.
Sure.
Because I default into not doing that.
Yep.
So again, it's practicing skills.
Well, and all of what we're talking about too kind of relates to those personality things that we did too.
Sure.
Is I'm fascinated by new ideas, by like just like forging ahead to like new things, and you are very much focused on relationships. That's why you like having the same people on multiple times. Yep.
My lane.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And you know, anyone could come up that you have a relationship with, be like, I want to be on your podcast. You'd be like, yes. Let's do
Sure.
it. Yeah.
What are you going to talk about?
Uh-huh. And it's because you're far less selfish than me. For me, it's like, I know your stuff. Like, and it's not interesting to me, you know?
Maybe you got to push yourself though
Could be.
to find something,
Yep.
nuggets that are interesting.
Mm-hmm. Could be.
Who knows?
Yeah, I'm not going to. Yeah. Should.
But you might have to do that in this new phase. That's what I'm
Yes.
saying.
But we're also going to have, so that kind of wraps up, like we each kind of
Yeah,
know what
here
we're
are
gonna
our
do.
categories.
We are going to have another one, which is we are really going to try to share what it is we've learned and synthesized, or even in the business at 1017, if there are certain things that we're learning, we're still going to have that marketing stuff in there as we learn and do more. And so we'll still have those. It'll still be just you and I. We'll still have those episodes too.
Yeah.
But we're each going to have our own kind of lanes, and you might, as a listener, might realize like, oh, I hate Tyler's episodes. I'm just going to listen to Jamie's. No problem, you know?
Yeah. Or vice versa.
But we'll both be there for all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We're still a tag team.
Uh-huh.
A really good tag team.
Okay.
How good would we be as a wrestling tag team?
I feel like wrestling requires a lot of physical touch, and that's not really your thing.
Well, yeah, but that's not true. I'm like, I can get really feisty.
Competitive.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I with these hips, like I have some buddies that have challenged me to wrestle, and it doesn't go well for them.
I just, in my head, we're sitting on like this square rug or rectangular rug, and I was had like a
WWE
Yes.
vision.
I gotta throw.
Jamie's drinking already today.
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
Anyways,
that's our new direction, and we do have to record like a new kind of cool back and forth intro. And
yeah, we're
outro.
gonna jazz it up a little bit and make this a little more official.
Yeah, professional.
Professional.
More
It was already
produced.
official.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, the whole workflow of just putting it up there and doing all of that is not hard. We know how to do all of that. It is the taking it to the next level.
Yeah. But don't worry, we still don't have a single sponsor.
Nope.
So we've got big goals for
Yeah, well,
season
we're
2.
staying nonprofit in this, you know,
Yeah.
until someone wants to sponsor, and it won't be. So,
Then we'll
anyway,
consider.
and also we better get summer or spring soon.
Oh, stop it. Leave your negativity out of this.
I'm not just being honest.
Yeah. But
All right. Well, that's the I think overview and direction of season 2, where we're going.
yeah, it's gonna be a long season.
100 episodes in this season, I guess.
Giddy up.
In 3 years. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good week. Bye-bye.